Hey, you. It's okay to take a break. Sometimes, a lot of the time, it's really okay. Everything's still going to be there tomorrow. Obviously, there's a bare minimum that you need to do day to day for survival or to take care of the ones that matter to you. But beyond that, it'll all still be there. You can go back to it. Whether that's the extra things you do for your job, whether it's YouTube. I'm focusing on YouTube here. This is what I do day to day. This is what I often talk about here on Liminal Musings. But it's okay to take a break. You do not need to upload every day. You do not even need to upload every week. Despite what your analytics may suggest to you, despite what your emotions compel you to feel, it's okay to take a break. When you come back, most of your audience will still be there. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but then you'll get them back in time and you'll be better for it because you're going to be making better videos if you give yourself breaks and room to breathe. There's a lot of focus right now on YouTube about returning to classic YouTube or old YouTube or making older style to quote unquote be authentic, which is not how authenticity works. But a lot of it is focused on a paradigm shift, on doing something different, on changing how you do things because perhaps you miss the old ways. And like if you do, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I think what a lot of people get stuck in is that they're just unhappy with what they're doing right now. Either it's too much work, they're not getting the results that they want, that they're just tired of the grind. I've talked about grind recently and why it's bad. A lot of it is focused on that kind of feeling. Like, I'm tired of the way things are, and so I'm going to change it. Or I'm tired of the way things are, and so we're going to all convince ourselves that things are changing in this direction. And like, that's fine. This is a really big trending topic. But it's also possible that you don't actually want to change anything. It's entirely possible that you still love what you do and you just need a break sometimes. That's how I get. I run my main YouTube channel has a lot more subscribers than this one, has been running for a very long time, and is very much stuck in playing the YouTube game on a specific niche day to day. Like, it's what I have to do. I upload about once a week. I sometimes upload 3 times a week, when at least before I had a kid. You know, it's very much in that world. And yeah, I get fed up with it sometimes. Yeah, I get really tired of it. Sometimes I question if it's what I should be doing at all. But most of the time, I just need a break. Most of the time when I take a break or I go do something else, which is why having your fun, creative, artistic outlet be a separate YouTube channel or online presence than your primary personal brand or whatever you're doing is super important. Sometimes I just need to go focus on that for a little bit, like I'm doing right now, instead of just trying to quit altogether. I think people are very reactionary to what they're feeling, and they think that it means that they have to change everything. And I'm guilty of this too. I just don't let it get to the point where I actually start making affirmative decisions and public statements most of the time. Sometimes I do. Like yesterday, I have had some really bad sleep this week for a variety of factors. I just haven't been sleeping well. Yesterday, the night before, yesterday, I got very little sleep. I was woken up every hour or two. I did not get enough sleep. But I had to get up and still do my day because I'm a dad. My wife worked all day. We got stuff to do. And so I was pretty miserable all day. And when I get sleepy, especially like big sleepy, I get sad. And I know this, but that doesn't stop. Like, the awareness of it doesn't change what I feel in the moment. It takes a lot of work to talk me off of the ledge, so to speak, of like wanting to change things when I get sad, even when I'm aware of what causes it. And so yesterday I started writing down in my notebook. I have notebooks for everything I do and catalog and whatever. Started writing down my thoughts, journaling almost, but I was basically just asking myself some questions because suddenly I felt really unhappy and I knew I needed to work. I often don't start work for a week until Thursday. I usually only get Thursday, Friday, and then some weekend time to work. I knew I had work coming up, and I really didn't want to do my job, my main YouTube channel stuff. I have a mountain of stuff to do for that, and it's really not what I wanted to do. And it's not that I necessarily felt like doing my other channels more. I kind of did. It's easier. But it's not necessarily that I wanted to. I just really didn't want to do my main stuff. And so I started asking myself some questions. In fact, I'm going to pull up the page right now because I think it was important. March 20th. What brings me joy is the first line, underlined with a question mark. And then I had a couple other questions. What is interesting about those things? And so I started having basically a mini existential crisis. And I think a lot of these newer YouTubers trying to go down this new YouTube wave or new wave or authenticity focused era or whatever are having this kind of existential crisis, especially if they come up in the, like if they came up during the generation of just full optimization focused YouTube. Like you don't have time to develop a sense of a personal identity in any of that. I think a lot of those people are struggling with this kind of stuff. And so I asked, what brings me joy? And my answers were the projects that I never make time to finish. And then I identified, my Lost Saves YouTube channel, which we're on right now, my Cyberdeck project, editing, just in general. I love editing video, painting my D&D minis, photography, glitch art, my stuff on my Analog Dreams YouTube channel, retro video projects, playing with my older camcorders and that kind of stuff that I can do for my main channel, but it's not as, it's not going to do as well. It's not going to be profitable, so I don't focus on it very much. And then I did finally admit as one of my last things, I do enjoy cool capture tech. I do still enjoy that aspect of my main job. And that's when I moved. I also wrote down something that I wound up sprouting the second question. Is in that I wrote down problem solving. I am most engaged with my job when there's a problem to solve. Because that's just what I've always done. It's what I have always enjoyed from ever since I was a little kid. It's how I became the quote-unquote tech wizard growing up. I enjoyed solving the problems. It was mentally stimulating, engaging. It gave me a thrill. And so I do still like that aspect. So then when I wrote down what is interesting about these things that bring me joy, I wrote down stuff that wasn't problem solving because I had already identified that. So I got stuff like art, creative expression, building and creating things, finding my style and my voice, learning how old stuff was made. But then there's also stuff like exploring newness and then obviously problem solving. And that helped me identify why I'm not super engaged with my main job, my main channel stuff right now, because the space that I occupy isn't really changing anymore. During the pandemic, it was a big deal. It was a whole huge thing. It was constantly evolving. There were new problems to solve and lots of new ways to solve them. Currently, that is not the case. The problems have all been solved. There aren't a whole lot of new ones. The ones that still need solved are not things people care about as much, so it's not as fun to cover because people don't watch it. Everything's kind of normalized. It's not an evolving market anymore. So not only am I not solving problems, I'm just kind of plainly reviewing stuff and showing basic how-to stuff. I'm not exploring newness anymore. I'm not blazing a new trail as I was back in 2013 when I was first making these kinds of tutorials, or back in 2006 to 2009 when I was first making gaming videos. I'm also not really building or creating things. My main channel is kind of at a stall point because of many things, and that can be blamed on me too, but also because of my niche's stagnancy in terms of relevance. If anything, it's going down in relevance. So the aspects of things that bring me joy don't really apply to my main work at the moment, which is why doing this other stuff seems a lot more fun because I get to fulfill my art side and my creative expression and finding my voice and all these other things that at least feels impossible to do on main anymore. That could just be a silly mental roadblock that I need to get past, for sure. But I haven't figured out the way past it yet. And then lastly, I asked myself, what do I have to offer or have to say in 2024 and beyond? And this is where I was reaching... I'd been on top of having very little sleep. I was outside with my kiddo all day. So I was reaching physical and mental exhaustion and reaching peak sadness. I feel really depressed when I'm this tired. I didn't have answers to it. I just had more questions. Beneath that, I had, what's my mission? What am I feeling? Who do I want to reach? I didn't have answers to any of those. I just had more questions. Like what I was asking myself, what is the point? What do I do? What do I offer the world? And I didn't have an answer for that. That would be the point. That is a point where many creators, especially newer and younger ones who haven't figured out the ways past burnout and whatever, that is where a lot of them get stuck and really kind of fixate. And especially without social circles to kind of share these burdens with and get your thoughts out with, or a better journaling system, support network, whatever. It is easy to get stuck here and fixate on this and be like, I need to change everything. And that is exactly what I felt yesterday going through this, is the gear scene is dead now. It's boring. Streaming has been boring and kind of toxic for a while. I just need to go do something else if I can't find a way to reinvent myself in a sustainable way that I can still pay my bills and support my family with it. The next day, I don't believe that's true. I believe those feelings come from a valid place, a very real place, and that they definitely matter. But I don't truly believe that I need to throw everything away and abandon the project and whatever. Like, At the very least, I still need to keep my head in the game long enough to figure out how to reinvent myself. But I don't need to just throw it all away. And that is a problem. I don't think most people can get out of that space. And that sucks. And that's why you need to take a break. If you reach that point, don't start making rash decisions or don't even try to find a solution. Like, that is something. Once I started just listing more questions instead of answers to my questions, I kind of threw my notebook aside. Like, I threw it down and just went for a walk with my kid. Like, I completely tossed it aside. I realized that I was at that breaking point where I was going to try to make a game-changing decision that was going to backfire or just not be what I was happy with once I was in a better mental state. That is the point where you take a break. You don't try to find a solution anymore. You go do something else. You breathe. You live life. You reprioritize for a little bit. Realize this is not the mountain you need to climb in this moment. And allow yourself to come back to it and to get clarity. And you get that clarity by not trying to focus on it. A lot of people think that you're going to get clarity on your struggles in life by putting it under a microscope, when in reality, that just kind of blurs the edges more and more. You have to take a step back. You have to see it from a wider point of view. You have to just let it breathe and live and sit with it and see how it feels after a night of sleep. Maybe even after a month. Maybe take a full sabbatical. Like, those existed for a reason. People would often just kind of take a 3-month-long break from whatever it is they're doing whenever they had like a big mental pit. And when they came back, they were renewed. They were refreshed. They were ready to go. It's a shame that society has moved away from that. I think we need to get back to it. You deserve a break. It's okay to take a break. And when you come back, you're going to be better than ever. Even if that means you come back and you're more certain than ever that you need to make the change, you're going to be more able to make that change. And that's what I was kind of getting at as I was working through that now. Like, I may still decide I need to reinvent myself and get away from streaming as my main job, the subject and niche and whatever. But when I'm so wrapped up in the stress and the panic of it, I can't see the forest from the trees. I can't see what's in front of me. I can't know what that reinvention will look like. Even now I can't. It will take time. And that's kind of what this is all about. I hope this meant something to anyone. I hope you connected with this at all. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want to listen to more of my kind of deeper thoughts on things like this, I have a whole playlist, a whole podcast series called Liminal Musings that this is a part of, linked in the description. And remember to be kind, rewind. See ya.